commercial body that was ruling this country. That is a fact.
Commercial body
of the RNC?
Yes, Royal Niger Company. They were ruling this company. If you look at it, 1882, 1884, even up to really 1900, it was Royal Niger Company ruling this country. But when they discovered the enormous resources in the country, and the critical element at that time was oil, you might be surprised to hear it was oil at that time. And where was the oil? From the Delta. That was the critical area. There were other areas with oil too, but the critical area was the Delta. And the irony is that even today, another oil also comes from the same Delta. So they've been the carrier of our fortune and misfortune in the history of this country. And they carry on like that until eventually we took over at the time of independence. But don't forget, and I've said this before, that up to 1958, it was Britain that was ruling us. And I don't know who's ruling us today. I don't say it is Britain. I think it's our people ruling us, and including yourself.
Because, I mean, time and again, when young people also see some of these things, they keep asking themselves, now that there's sort of this advisory committee to look at modalities, how we should go about those talk, what kind of things do you think should be the central focus of that?
Well, your guess is as good as mine, and I won't like to give any advanced verdict. One, I was independent at the time of independence, and I was in Parliament when we debated our independence bill, which gave us independence. I was also in Parliament when we did a Republican constitution. And also, when Chief Williams was chairman of the committee, I was on that committee. So I would like to be in any marriage again. I like to take the chair.
You want to be in the congregation of the marriage?
No, I want to be a watcher. I like to be a watcher.
No, not a witness.
And look at you and all of you writing constitution for us, and I look at it.
Isn't that the same thing as being a witness?
Yes, a witness at the side table.
Okay, now just quickly, I mean, I don't think we've quite answered that question. You've talked about a marriage that was faulty in 1914. Do you agree that we should celebrate our centenary?
What happened in 1914 was not a marriage. It was 100% colonialism. But when you talk of celebration, of course we have to celebrate. Didn't you have our independence? And if you have your independence, won't you celebrate it?
So we celebrate. You think that we should focus more on our independence than the amalgamation?
Amalgamation has come, and in my view, it will stay forever.
Because
I don't see it breaking up.
There's a big debate. There's been a big debate that the amalgamation wasn't, our own doing. We did not want it. We had no say in it. It wasn't something that we came up with ourselves. And a host of people have been debating as to whether or not it is worth celebrating, even though the federal government seems to maintain that there is actually something worth celebrating in our amalgamation 100 years on.
We are celebrating that we are free. We are like to be still a colonial country till today.
We're not free in 1914. We were not free in 1914. We were just
not celebrating 1914. We are celebrating independence, which Britain gave to us in 1960.
We're celebrating today.
Yes.
Which is good.
Yes.
But a host of people say, next year we're going to be 100 years together as Nigeria.
Yes.
And they say, celebrate that. Do you agree with them?
I don't. Because that's nothing to celebrate. What happened in 1914 was British economic interest. One, they passed the Mineral Act. And I've said that before, which they put all the minerals in Britain. Two, they passed a criminal law to settle our criminal matters. And of course, there was something they did, that was the Arbitration Act. So, if you talk of 1914, please, you have little to say that as regards independence, if you want to be really factual and honest. It was British interest serving British interest. And I've told you, you have Lord Carberry, who was the chairman of the Royal Niger Company, and you have the colonial secretary, Lord Harcourt, and Port Harcourt is named after him. And if I have my shoes on, I would even call Port Harcourt named after him.
You rename it?
I rename it. It's one of the worst eras in our history. In fact, those are the people who brought Target into this country. So why should we name Port Harcourt after him? And of course, Lugard. When I go to Kaduna, you see some areas they call it Lugard. Why do you call it Lugard? A man who inflicted one of the worst things in the history of this country. Why should we name any after him? It is totally unworthy. How wouldn't?
What do you think, or what's your perspective on our current security situation?
Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not in government, and it's difficult for me to give you the right balance. And they might say, oh, what is he talking about? Does he know about intelligence? Does he know what's going on in the police?
But at least from the perspective of the law, you do know.
Well, when you talk of law, I go to court to argue cases. I was in Port Harcourt 2 weeks ago, in Lagos last week, and this week I'm going to be in Port Harcourt. So I live on law. When it comes to my bread and butter, yes, that is my meal ticket.
Yeah, the president touched on that some time ago.
I want him to also touch on that. That's the issue of security, because he's talking about law. Because once the security agencies have complained that, the issue they have with the judiciary is they bring up suspected maybe terrorists.
That's the same point, yeah.
Okay, good. Suspected terrorists, and the same lawyers, I don't know how you people do it, they set them free.
I'm not saying judiciary is 100% correct, but I will concede that the present Chief Justice is doing her best, having regard to the inheritance she got. But having said that, there are rooms and rooms to improve. And I believe that in months and years to come, all those improvements will be effected.
But it does come across as though there's frustration coming from certain quarters, because when the president gave his presidential media chat, he did say everyone have to play their role, the judiciary. So it suggested that it looks as though they're not pulling their weight on this one, because they have a major role to play.
Well, the person to speak on that will be the Chief Justice of Nigeria, of which I am not. I'm the chairman of Senior Advocate. I can speak about law, but as regards the judiciary, it's the Chief Justice who can speak about that. And of course, overall, the president can speak on the global picture.
But you should have a thought on how the judiciary is performing in this case. What is it?
Well, many of the judges are doing extremely well. You have those who are not doing very well. And those who are not doing very well have been retired or sacked. You know that, as I do. And we will maintain the right balance at the right time.
Chief Akinjide, you wear many hats. I mean, you're sitting here and you've been through a lot of things, as you rightly pointed out. Good, the bad, the ugly. You've seen so many things. And I'm wondering, what was it like? You talked about being in Parliament before independence, during independence, and after independence. Now you sit as an old man, who has experienced something, and you're watching what is unfolding before your very eyes in the Fourth Republic and the National Assembly. What's your take on the nature of discourse in the National Assembly today?
Well, my problem with the National Assembly is they're getting too much money. They are spending too much money. I must say that straight away. When I entered Parliament, I was earning £800 a year. And the press were even shouting that the money was too much for us. But I like to know now how much each member of the National Assembly is earning. Their allowances, their houses, their income. Some people told me it's even greater than what the American president is earning. And that is unthinkable, having regard to our resources. So the right people should make the right balance at the right time.
So from the look of things now, 53 years on, the president has made this speech. What do you expect from now on?
One, the speech, I think, is the right balance. I watch it in your studio here, And I must confess that I like the right balance.
I didn't get to hear anything as the fight against corruption.
You did. He spoke upon it. There is no aspect he didn't touch. The level, I don't know, but the speech was well drafted and well delivered.
So what's your take what's your take on the fight against corruption? Because perhaps why I didn't feel it was perhaps like most Nigerians, saying that that is one of the problems that we have encountered over time, and we've all identified that it is a problem. But are we doing enough to actually stem the rise of this monster?
Well, when you talk of corruption, you talk of corruption at all levels. Don't look at corruption at the federal alone. In fact, you have to start from the local government. Not the local government in Oyo State or in Benin or Maiduguri or Calabar, at all levels. Even many of the local governments too. Possibly yours, possibly mine, are also corrupt. Go to the House of Assembly. How much are they earning? Are they doing the right thing? And you have the right materials at the right time. When I came back from England and the House of Assembly was in Ibadan, you have some of the finest brains there. I mean, House of Assembly in Ibadan, where you have a Awolowo as the premier. I mean, you cannot expect for the best. You have people like Adelabu, people like Osadebe, people like Aketola. You have the best. Of course, the same thing in the East. Zik, Okpara, and so on, and the North. But now, in many respects, and I'm going to say this with the greatest respect, in some areas, not in all, you have the third 11 playing the role of the first 11. I think that's a critical problem.
Just quickly, I mean, you mentioned that we're talking about the National Assembly, and you know, the first thing you said is you think right now that they earn too much money, even though you also admit that in your time the press also complained that you were getting too much money. Do you think that for the money that they get, I mean, whether it is too much or it's too little, are you satisfied with the quality of discourse that comes out from the National Assembly, and do you think that it has any impact whatsoever on the average Nigerian?
One, I'm not satisfied. Two, the impact is insufficient. It's not the right balance.
The impact of the parliament on the lives of the average Nigerian, National Assembly?
It's not. I must concede that. I mean, when I was in parliament earning £800 a year, the press was shouting that it was too much. And I was pleased. I was satisfied with the amount of money I was earning. And I believe, with greater respect, that we were doing the service at that time.
All right. We want to thank you for coming on, Chief Richard Akinjide, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Minister of Education in the First Republic, and Attorney General, as well as Minister of Justice in the Second Republic. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.